Hey friends, it's Sarah Noel Black, founder of Tiny Marketing. And this is our weekly show where we give you actionable advice that you can implement today. I am so excited for this show today, and so is Millie over here. Today we have Rob and Kennedy, founders of Response Suite and the host of the Email Marketing Show. They're going to teach us how to write emails that people love, even if they're sales emails. Can you guys hear my son in the bath next door? I'm about to introduce them right now. Hey, guys.
Hello.
In the bath, I thought he was off to Mars. That sounded like a rocket ship.
You can't hear it. I thought so. Oh, well, it's good to have you. I'm going to add your presentation to the screen. And I'm so excited to have you. Here you go.
Oh, here we are.
Well, that looks good, doesn't it?
That looks great.
Do you want to make it big again like we did last time? I'll remove.
There you go.
There, now it's big. There we go.
Hey. Awesome.
So,
Well,
yeah, introduce yourself, please.
Yeah, sure. Let's get cracking on. Well, yeah, thanks very much, Sarah, for having us. It's really nice to be here with you all. How to send valuable sales emails that people actually love receiving. Sounds like a bit of a tall task, but in the next sort of 30 minutes, we're hopefully going to share with you exactly how to do it and leave no stone unturned. But first, who the heck are we?
Indeed, we're going to spend the first 29 minutes telling you who we are. The last minute, we'll finish off with some gold. So a hypnotist and a mind reader walk into your inbox. That sounds a little bit weird. Hello, I'm Rob, by the way. R for Rob, R for Red. No more clues. Kennedy's the other one. And for the next half hour, we are going to talk to you about how we applied our techniques as a hypnotist on stage and a mind reader, or anyone in the US, you guys would know that as a mentalist, how we apply our techniques to email marketing. For the last almost 18 years, we've been lucky enough to travel almost all over the world separately, performing our shows, me as a hypnotist, Kennedy as a mentalist. And along the way, we used email marketing as a massive tactic and strategy to get loads of inquiries, turn those inquiries into clients, and turn those clients into repeat clients. And since then, in multiple other businesses, in loads of different niches, and with hundreds of our clients, we've applied our techniques to email marketing in order to get more sales, more bookings in our case, from every single email that we send. Without being salesy, because nobody likes to be salesy. Kennedy and I have done the sales training, but we still hate having to make the sale. And so these are really simple techniques, nothing particularly difficult, that's going to help you to deepen your relationships with your subscribers, get more sales in a more efficient way, and love every minute of it as well.
And when Rob said we're obsessed with email marketing, we really mean we're obsessed with it. So obsessed, we thought, why don't we create a podcast where we talk about email marketing every single week? So every single week we rock up and we have the Email Marketing Show, and people from all over the world, for some crazy reason, tune in on their Spotify and their Apple Podcasts or wherever it is you get your podcast from, and they listen to Rob and I and our guests talk about email marketing. And then we thought, that's not quite enough. Like, talking about it every week is not enough because we are obsessed with it. So we created a free community on Facebook, and we give it the innovative name of the Email Marketing Show Community. You see, we're really good at email marketing, not very good at naming things. Which basically means we get to talk about email marketing every single day with members of our free community on Facebook. So we really are obsessed with it. So saying that, how many of us are happy to admit that we are a little bit afraid of emailing too much? In fact, we know people who've put off building an email list and attracting subscribers to that email list. They're afraid of even starting an email list because they're afraid of emailing their subscribers. It sounds insane maybe, but it actually, for some of us, that sort of makes sense as well. So who's afraid of emailing too much? And you know what it is? You should be. We should be afraid of emailing too much if we're doing things what we call the old way. In fact, Rob and I were lucky enough to be asked to be the closing keynote speakers at a really large prestigious marketing event in London a few years ago. And we were over at the buffet at lunchtime, which is where you usually find us at most events, at the buffet and at the food. And this guy came over. He was one of the other speakers who'd spoken earlier that day. And he said, oh, you guys, you're doing the email marketing thing. And you're doing the closing keynote, speaking about email marketing. I know what that email marketing thing is. It's that thing where you build a massive list and then you email them till they buy, die, or unsubscribe. Turns out
was Dick Van Dyke at that event?
No, that was my Texas accent.
I see.
Oh, yeah, it's good. It's good. So it made it sort of sit down and realize, actually, this email marketing thing can often feel very self-serving for us as a business, and we do not want to annoy our subscribers. So what if your subscribers actually enjoyed your promotional emails? And we also we're thinking, what if your emails actually delivered value in their own right, if they were actually valuable? And what if you could actually entertain, inform, and sell all at the same time? So you never have that quandary of, how many value emails do I need to send out before I do an offer email? Am I currently doing value, or am I currently doing offers? What if every single email was all of those things at the same time? So every single day or every single email, you're able to do those things. And that's what we innovatively named the modern way.
So we're going to break this whole thing down for you over the next half hour, and you're going to be able to take what we teach you and actually do it immediately after this. This is not one of those things where we're going to give you the light, fluffy stuff, and then you'll be left with loads of questions or 3 weeks of complicated research to do. Instead, by the end of this, you'll have our framework, you'll have our structure, you'll have everything. You can just go and do it. In fact, if you've got a list right now, however big or small that list is, you could go out and start emailing them with our approach within minutes of getting off this training, which is really, really cool. Now, the first step that we need to cover is something that we just call selling through value. It's the idea that actually by delivering value in people's lives, we can wrap salesmanship into that, salespersonship into that, so that you can actually make more sales. Now, this requires a bit of a flick of a switch of mindset for most of us. And incidentally, as a side note, this is literally the best picture of a light switch that I could find on any stock photography website. So if you happen to be a photographer or an amateur photographer and you have a light switch, there's a killing to be made from selling pictures of light switches that are better than this to the stock photography websites. All of that is to say, we need to flick a switch in our minds. You see, as Kennedy mentioned, most of us really think of email as being something that serves us as the business owner, and it irritates the subscriber no end, right? We see email as being a thing where, like a stationery shop might say, we're doing a special offer on pens this week. We better tell everyone about the special offer on pens. So somebody, whoever's job it is, scurries over to the computer, writes the email newsletter. That takes about 4 hours, and they have to find the photographs and put the logo in and make sure the template's right. And then they do a test and it doesn't look right, so they have to faff about with it for another hour. Eventually they get it right, and they hit send, and it blasts it off to all of their customers, and their customers, like, you're on their list because you bought a box of paper clips from them once, and now you're being told that you've got pens, and you don't give a care whether they're selling pens or not. And then basically,
careful, keep it PG.
I know. And then I forgot this is not for our audience then. And then they scurry off and they put their fingers in their ears and they hope that not too many people unsubscribe and not too many people report their emails as spam. And maybe, just maybe, if all of the stars are aligned, they might be able to make a sale of some pens. Now, that's not a great way of doing email marketing. And you can see why that feels like it's not going to be very effective. And frankly, it's not. And so what we've got to do instead is just see email as another content channel. Like, this is a live stream, right? It's a way of us delivering value to you. But you can also deliver value in email. Just like you can deliver value on Instagram, you can deliver value by email. I mean, if you're flicking through Instagram and you see a post, maybe with a really nice quote, and you think, oh, that quote really resonates with me. I mean, you don't think that, you just feel it. Then you might like the post. In fact, if you really like it, you might comment on it. And if you really, really, really like it, you might share it onto your Instagram story so that your followers get to see that thing as well. And that person has just had a bit of viral growth. So what if you could send emails that people really love receiving? If they happen to have an offer in them, well, that's just incidental, and some people are going to take the offer. That's great. But people like them so much that they actually reply to you and tell you, say thank you for the emails. They forward the email onto their friends because they think, oh, my friend Barbara's got to see this, and they forward the email onto somebody else. That gives you that same viral growth as them sharing it to their Instagram story. And if you post on Instagram once a day, twice a day, something like that, no social media coach on earth is going to tell you to drop that down to once a month. Only post on Instagram once a month because you don't want to irritate people, do you? But why do we insist on this monthly newsletter thing or this weekly newsletter thing? So we're going to flip all of that on its head. And the first step really is to be able to deliver value to people's lives through email so that they want to keep receiving them.
Okay, but Robin Kennedy, how do we deliver this value? What is this value? What do people find? Look, if you go onto a forum or enter any Facebook group about marketing, you say, oh, I need to, like, how do I build my audience and how do I do email marketing? The first thing that some bland person will say is, well, just deliver value. What the heck does that actually mean? If you've ever tried to sit down and write value, that's tricky. That's when you start staring at the screen thinking, right, now what? So one of the simplest, one of the best ways to deliver value is by telling stories. Stories are the easiest and the best way to deliver value and give people that feeling of connection. The thing is, stories are really, really easy, and they're really, really useful for us as email marketers. First of all, because they are easy, because they're really easy to write. Since before we can even remember as human beings, we've been hearing stories and telling stories. At the end of this session today, you're probably going to leave and talk about that amazing session that you had over here at Tiny Marketing. Or you're going to talk about those crazy British guys who were very energetic and talking excitedly about email marketing.
You missed out handsome. You missed out handsome.
Yeah, I did miss out handsome. So they're easy to write. We're all used to telling stories. And I'm not saying you have to be a great writer, because I'm dyslexic and I tell stories every single day. So if I can do this, you definitely can too. The second reason that stories work so well is because stories make everything that you do and say instantly more emotional and real. Let's think about it. If I told you, oh, can you remember the 7 steps to creating a really good landing page? You're probably going to go, no, I have heard this. There are probably 7 steps. What are they again? You probably can't quite remember. Whereas there are definitely stories you tell now to your friends and new people you meet about things that have happened years ago in your life. Why is that? Because stories, literally and physically, if you look at the psychology and the physiology of stories, they actually physically take up more space inside of people's minds, inside their brains, which means they stick around for longer. And the reason they do that is because they become emotional. They become emotionally charged. You can't get that excited about 7 steps to creating a really good landing page. What you can get excited about is that story about something that happened. And when we tell stories, what do we do as human beings? We put ourselves, and we can't help it, we put ourselves into the story. Of course, the big thing a lot of people ask us about is, how do you make sure you don't sound boring in your emails? How do we sound so interesting in the emails that we send? And what you got to do is you got to find your personality. Look, we have a thing we talk about. People do this all the time, which is they start to send an email and they go from like, hiya, how you doing, Sarah? Like me and my friend Sarah here might be hanging out, having like a virtual cup of tea, and we're all like chatting. But then you go to send an email and you do the email equivalent of the telephone voice. You suddenly go, hello, dear whom it may concern. And suddenly you're like, who is this person typing this email? And the reason that happens is you're not allowing your personality to come across. And the thing that people compliment us, I don't know if it is a compliment, people say it to us, is they can literally hear our voice in our emails. And the reason that is so easy to do is when you're telling stories, you will naturally use your own turns of phrase, your own colloquialisms, your own little ways that you express different things, and you'll be talking about things that are happening to you, especially if you tell stories about yourself, which leads me on to point number 4, which is if you tell stories which are about you, your life, and the people around you, your readers, your subscribers get to know you. They actually, and by getting to know you, that builds trust. The fact that I might talk about the fact I've got 2 Bengal kittens called Nova and Ivy. I might talk about the fact that I went to the theater the other night and I saw this thing. I might talk about these different things, and suddenly I'm no longer this person who sends text emails to you every day of the week. I'm suddenly this person who's a 3-dimensional person who has a family, who has pets, who goes out and socializes and goes to the theater. I'm suddenly much more trustworthy, which is really important these days in a world of the lowest levels of trust ever. So the first thing we're going to do is make sure we sell by actually turning up with a value in the form of stories in our emails.
So now that we know that our emails are going to be valuable, and actually they're not just irritating and selling to our subscribers and serving us, but they're actually serving the subscribers, that gives you permission to show up more often. In other words, send more emails. In other words, you really need to kind of be there for your subscribers, because they didn't join your list because they wanted to put their email address somewhere else. They joined your list because at some point they had a problem and they think that you might have the solution. And so if you're not there for them, you're not serving them, they're not particularly serving you if you're not emailing them very much. And it's just a lose-lose situation. So think about your best friends for a minute, like the people that you know and you like the most. They're going to be the people you hang out with the most, right? And the truth is, you can't build a really deep connection with somebody if you're only in front of them once a month or once a week. How often have you subscribed to somebody's list and within a matter of days, you've forgotten who they are or what their lead magnet was, or why did I end up on your list in the first place? Because all you wanted was that 9-point checklist. And now suddenly you're in the middle of some promotion for a product you've never even heard of before, and from somebody you've forgotten who they are. So what we've got to think about instead is, how do we show up more often so that we can support people? How can we support our subscribers on as much as a daily basis? Now, I say as much as a daily basis because, and you might want to sit down if you're not already, folks, we email our list 365 days of the year, sometimes more than once a day. Like if we're doing like a close or a promotion or something, they might get 3 emails in a day, but typically every single day, 365 days a year, even Christmas Day. And we even make sales on Christmas Day as well. And you might think, well, that sounds horrific. I can't possibly email my subscribers 365 days a year. They'd hate me. They'd all unsubscribe. It would all go to spam. I'd run out of things to say. I haven't got time to do that. And all the other stuff that we're going to address as we go through this. And we're not saying you have to email every day, but we do want you to realize the value in emailing more often than you probably currently are. And here's the thing. You're the only person who sees 100% of your emails. So it feels like loads of emails to you. And in fact, you see them for like 7 times longer than everyone else, because you see it from the birth of the idea through to writing the first draft, through to checking it over, through to looking at the link again, through to hitting send, through going and checking it on your own phone to make sure it hasn't messed up on the way, to clicking the link to make sure it works, through thinking about it and worrying about it for the rest of the day in case people hate you or unsubscribe or reply and say mean things like somebody did to one of our emails today. That's perfectly okay, perfectly natural, perfectly acceptable. But that's the thing. You see your emails a lot longer than everybody else. And actually, you're the only person who sees 100% of them, or any of the content you put out, actually.
But of course, you're now thinking, well, I couldn't possibly in my business, because all of our businesses are different, right? It's okay for us because we teach email marketing. It's okay for us to email every single day, but your business is different. Of course it is. Every one of our students, everyone we speak to, their business is different. So we were thinking, okay, what are some businesses who might go, yeah, they couldn't email every single day? What's an extreme example? And of course, you had to think about our accountant. Our accountant's a guy called Graham. He's a great guy. He has great taste in ties and shirts. He's not very good at putting the two together. They always look terrible, but he's got great independent taste in shirts and ties. He looks like he gets dressed in the dark. But we were thinking about Graham, and how can an accountant, something as, excuse me, accountants, but as unsexy as accounting, email every single day? Well, right now, Graham sends us a monthly newsletter, and that is the longest email any human has ever sent to another human. I really believe it, because it has 32 subheadings, a couple of paragraphs underneath each one. It's like a bottomless pit. I've never made it to the bottom of any one of Graham's emails. And I'm sure there's loads of great stuff in there because he's a really smart guy. That's why he's our accountant. But if instead of that massively long email, Graham just actually broke that down and did a shorter, smaller, much more consumable email each day, that would have a whole bunch of benefits. If he turned up a little tip, a little bit of insight about accountancy, about my finance, about my cash flow, those kind of things, and not my cash flow, but just generally about cash flow, that would really help, because first of all, I would find that beneficial. I would find it easier to consume, so I'd actually read it rather than as soon as it comes in, I go, oh, it's that time of the month to delete Graham's email unread, because that's what's happening at the moment, right? So if it's easier to consume, I'm going to read it. Also, because I'm hearing from him every day, that means my finances, heck, my accountant, are at the front of my mind every single day, which means I'm going to be an easier and better client to him. I'm going to make his job easier because I'm going to be thinking, oh, we should maybe think about doing this. It's going to be much easier for everyone. And also because he's in the front of my mind all the time, I'm probably going to be able to refer him much more often. And of course, because I'm hearing from him more often, I'm going to have a deeper relationship with him. It's a bit like, you know, those breakfast networking events that you get up in the middle of the night and you breathe stale coffee on other people. You know those. The reason those things work is because each week you show up to that same group of people and you expand the picture and you build up the story of all the different things that your business does week on week on week, which means people don't get overwhelmed and hear nothing. They hear a little bit each week and they build trust and rapport. That's exactly what happens when you do this kind of email thing where you show up more often, but with shorter, much more consumable things, which are done in a value-led way through telling stories. So now let's break things up a few minutes into the presentation, in this training, with a bit of a quiz.
We got a quiz for you, just a simple question, one question and 4 possible answers here. The question is, why are people on your list? And I did sort of allude to this earlier. I gave you the answer. So if you were paying attention, you'll know. Why are people on your list? Is it because option A, they like having a friend? Maybe they feel a little bit lonely. They don't have many friends. And so maybe they want to have you as a friend. That sounds cool. Maybe it's because they want more emails. Maybe they've seen Kennedy's inbox with his 37,622 unread emails. And they think, oh, that looks good. I'd like to be like Kennedy. Maybe it's because they've got a problem that needs solving. They think you might have a solution. You might be able to help them to solve that problem. Or maybe it's because they've got too much time that needs filling. And they think that if they just sit and put emails into folders, that sounds like that's a good way of filling time. Okay, we're being cheeky. It is obviously because they've got a problem that needs solving. But we seem to forget this. People give us their email address for a reason. They didn't just do it for the sake of it. We didn't blackmail them into it. They gave us their email address because they wanted to receive our stuff. And so now, they may not be ready to buy from you immediately. They might not be able to be ready to buy everything you've got immediately, but you have to be top of mind for them the moment they're ready to solve that problem. The big shift that we want to make in email marketing is if we make it less about serving the business and not the subscriber, that means we make everything more subscriber centric and subscriber driven. And what that means is that we just want to be around so that when they are ready to make the decision, we just happen to be there. We're right in the top of their inbox somewhere because we sent them an email today. And if we didn't send them an email, or we said they got our monthly newsletter 29 days ago, we're very much bottom of mind. That's the opposite of top of mind. And so, if you take your monthly newsletter and you throw it out once a month, obviously that's why it's monthly, and you're hoping that some people open it on the day that you send it, and some of those people happen to be the people who want to buy your product and they happen to want to buy it at that time, that's a very small number. And it goes to show why email marketing isn't very effective when it's done in that form. Instead, we've got to make sure that we're permanently there, constantly just delivering little nuggets of value, kind of like you do on social media. The difference is that selling through email is just much higher converting, which means that when it is the right time for them to pull the trigger and make the purchase, you are absolutely there.
So how often can you email? Well, we email 365 days of the year, and honestly, most businesses can. In fact, we have a challenge. We have an unofficial club in our Facebook group, the Email Marketing Show community, where people say, I can't possibly do it because of my niche. And we have a thing called the I Told You So Club, which is where we say, here you can, here's how you do it. Go and do it for a month and come back and claim your unofficial reward, which is us going, I told you so. So most people can. And the reason is, think about your favorite TV show. Would you be more annoyed if they showed more episodes of your TV show or showed less episodes of your TV show? If people are getting value in the form of any kind of value, these stories, the way you're telling them, then people cannot be upset, right? Your emails basically become their daily dose of inspiration, of help, of value, while also selling. Now, this all sounds like a really lovely theory, but what does it work like in practice? Okay, we email 365 days a year. Let's give you the fastest ever run through about what happens when we send them.
We get replies every single day to our emails from subscribers actually thanking us for sending them emails, and we sell in 100% of our emails. Well, almost 100%. We didn't sell on Christmas Day, although we did still make a sale. More on that. So, for example, HH, whoever that is, said, love, love, love this. That was in reply to a sales email. Steve said, brilliant email. Great job, guys. That was in reply to a sales email. This one here, this lady, Ruth, literally was made redundant that day. She got up in the morning, brushed her teeth, did her hair the same as any other day, went off to work. Whilst at work, was given the devastating news that you don't have a job here anymore as of X date. She came home. We sent her an email that was selling something. And her words were, that email cheered me up. I needed it as I was made redundant today. Thanks for the smile. That's mad. And this is Amanda, and Amanda joined primarily the thing we sell in our emails is our membership, the League of Email Marketing Heroes. Amanda saw us speak at a conference, joined our list. She then joined the league, and we stopped sending you daily emails when you join the league because we sell you the league in the daily emails. She, along with at least a third of our members, have got back in touch saying, hiya, how can I resubscribe to the daily emails? And we're like, well, why would you want to do that? You've joined the thing they sell. And like, well, we just like reading them every day. And so we've had to change the entire system around to make that even possible, to not exclude league members if they want to be included. So again, people want to receive these even after buying the only thing that you sell in them, which is really cool.
But Robin Kennedy, surely emailing every day is going to end me with my emails in the spam folder, he said in the child voice. The thing is, your email deliverability is a bit like your credit score. If you're not emailing very often, you're not giving the likes of Gmail and all the other systems enough evidence as to whether you're a good emailer or a bad emailer. In fact, this is our health score. We use a third-party tool to measure our email deliverability. We email multiple times a day sometimes, but we email every single day. We've got 100 out of 100 because people engage with our emails and we're giving the systems enough evidence to show that we're not spammers, that we're very good at what we do and people like it. Whereas if I only email once a month, that's only 12 opportunities a year. And if your open rate per email is 20, 30, 40, maybe 60%, it's not a great deal of evidence to do that once a month, to give these systems any kind of data as to whether they should send you to the primary folder, the promotions folder, or to mark you as a dirty, rotten spammer. So the thing is, we need to email more consistently in order to actually get delivered and turn up, as you've already seen. But let's actually look at some proof of how this turns into actual sales. So recently we made a change. Rob, in one of our businesses, made a change in our email marketing automation. And when a sale came through, we thought we'd pop into this person's contact record and see that they'd received all the things they're supposed to receive. So what you've got here is a screenshot from inside of our email marketing platform. This is Keep 4 Million Fusionsoft. And the very top email there is the one that the person clicked on and bought from. Okay, so this is their email history of what they've been sent from the moment they joined our list. The very bottom email is their very first email ever from us. So these two emails, you can see at the very top, full disclosure, these dates are in UK format, which means we've got date, month, so that is the 9th of June. Just so you know, because I know America like to flip things around a little bit on that.
Video.
Yeah. Just keep us on our toes. And I love it. Those two emails were sent on the same day, okay? One at 11 in the morning and one at 10 o'clock at night. But let's take a look at the first 4 emails this person received after joining our list. Oh, just to tell you, by the way, this list is not in the marketing niche. In fact, this is in the self-development, personal improvement list, niche, okay? So this is in a totally different market altogether, a B2C market, actually. So the first 4 emails were not only unopened, as you can see, but that little red dot actually says, that's an indicator that says that they bounced. That person's inbox was full. They'd reached their quota in their Gmail. So they couldn't have ever seen those emails. And then the next 4 emails were either not opened and not clicked, or opened, clicked, but did not make the sale. And these 2 emails sent on the same day, you can see that one was opened, one was not even opened, and the other one was open, clicked, and actually made the sale. This top email here made the sale, and it took 9 emails to do it. If we only emailed weekly, it could have taken us 9 weeks to make that sale. If we emailed monthly, it could have taken us 9 months to make the sale. Now, that's not entirely true, because after the 3rd of June, the person cleared out their email inbox and they would no longer be bouncing, but it still would have taken us weeks. 1, 2, 3, 4, that would have been 5 weeks of emails to make the sale that we made in just 9 days. So we really do need to email more often for all of the technical reasons and because of the emotional reasons of turning up. But how do we actually sell through story-led emails?
So let's talk about how we can do this so that, as Kennedy referenced earlier, we don't have to send lots of value emails for a while, value and some more value, so that every now and then we can lull our subscribers into a false sense of security and then bam, hit them with a sale. Instead, we want to make sure that we have value and sales in every single email that we send. So here's how we do it. We've got 4 different frameworks that we use to do this. I wish we had time to give them all. We don't. We'll tell you one of them now. This is the one we use like most of the time. It's the first one we came up with. And we didn't come up with these to teach them. We came up with these years ago because we just needed a way of doing it. And this was the easiest way, because if you're going to send an email every day, you've got to be able to do it really fast. So this is called the traditional. Not for any clever reason. It's just because that's the one we traditionally use. It's broken into 3 parts: an opening story about something innocuous and incidental that happened to you that day. You segue into a lesson. So take the story and transition into some kind of lesson, make it like a fable where you take like the moral of the story and you apply it to whatever your subscribers are interested in. And then you segue from the lesson into the offer. So story about a thing that happened, the lesson that you can pull from that story, even if the story's got nothing to do with your niche, which ours 9 times out of 10 doesn't. And then transition from that lesson. And if this is important to you, then you can buy my thing over here.
Let's take a look at an example. Now, if we've got any people who love graphic design, I know that Sarah's stuff always looks absolutely gorgeous, design and all that stuff. I don't want you to be intimidated by this next slide and how beautiful it is. This is the only slide in the whole slide deck that I've been allowed to design. So, Rob, can I have the slide, please? You are welcome. Thank you. We're going to call that mustard yellow. So this is literally an email we sent to our list fairly recently, and you can see the subject line, and it uses the story lesson offer framework. And just to give you a heads up before you continue reading that, is this is sent to our email marketing list promoting our membership, The League. Okay, so it's about email marketing. So the subject line is a creepy message from a German. So you can think about why that got opened. It's very intrigue-based. Then the yellow bit, the mustard bit, is the story. Kennedy went very pale when his phone went ding, Sarah. We hopped on a Zoom call and I said, Guten Tag, instead of hello. Within 5 seconds, Kay got a WhatsApp message from his German pal, Thomas. The message just said, Guten Tag. That is creepy, innit? Like when you have a long-lost friend and suddenly they call you out of the blue. I don't know if you believe in coincidences, but you can definitely be in the right place at the right time for something miraculous to happen. Notice, ladies and gentlemen, there is not a sniff of email marketing yet, but we've just told a story about something that happened, the least boring thing that happened yesterday. Then we transition into the lesson, the moral of the story as it applies to your audience. We do one really simple thing to be in the right place at the right time for our email subscribers. We show up every single day with a short but powerful email in their inbox, a little burst of humor, story, and inspiration to help to stay at the front of their minds, so that when they need to take things to the next level, we're here. So that's the lesson. Then we go into the offer. Now, finally, we're about to mention email marketing. If you're wondering how you can send an email every day and have your subscribers addicted to it, so you can build deeper relationships with them and make more sales more frequently, there's a 2-hour, 14-minute training inside The League with our full and complete daily email strategy. It covers everything like 7 methods for coming up with stories, lessons, and email content so you never run out of fresh ideas. 4 email structures to keep your emails interesting. 3 techniques to write these emails fast so you can spend less time doing them, because we write our emails in less than 4 minutes a day, by the way. They don't take long. And then there's the call to action. Click here and jump inside. So you can see that story lesson offer. What's great about this is we talk about the same product, The League, every single day, but the story is the thing that means we've got something to say every single day. So now let's tidy this whole thing up by busting some myths.
So people think that you can't email every single day because people will get annoyed with you. Occasionally, some people do. We had one today. That's okay. He's unsubscribed now and he'll never hear from us again. That's all right. But most people love it, as you saw from those replies. Your emails only deliver value to you and not the subscribers. We know that's not true. We know that people love to hear, people love to hear from you because they're valuable, and therefore it's valuable to the subscribers, not just to you. Your emails will get marked as spam and stop getting delivered, as Kennedy mentioned earlier, for both technical reasons and psychological and emotional reasons. Actually, that's not true either. You'll run out of content or things to say. Definitely not true. All you're looking for here is the little tiny moments that happen in your life every day. Things like the stuff that you can't wait to tell your partner when they get in from work, or somebody when they get back from the shops. You haven't got time to email every day. As Kennedy said, we send our emails in 4 or 5 minutes a day. Usually Kennedy sends his first thing in the morning at about 5:30 in the morning. By the time it takes the kettle to boil, so put the kettle on, open his MacBook. By the time the kettle's boiled, the email is sent. And he doesn't have a particularly slow kettle or anything. So these are all just excuses and the misconceptions, the myths about why we think we can't do emails every single day and we can't sell 100% of the time as well. But actually, they're just not true. It doesn't matter what you sell or who you sell it to. You can sell more of it if you email more often with our framework.
Absolutely. And if anyone's got any questions, here live, obviously happy to take them. If Sarah's got any questions for us, definitely want to hear those. If anybody's got any questions after this, you're thinking, okay, this is great. I've got some questions about how I apply this to my particular business. Don't worry, we understand applying this to individual businesses. It can be a challenge, and it's different each time. That's why we created our free Facebook group, which you're very welcome to join. Just literally go to Facebook and search for the Email Marketing Show community, or you can go to facebook.com/groups/email marketing show. But and actually, here's a cool thing: on the way into the group and you request access, there's a box pops up with some questions, and one of those questions is, do you want to receive our daily emails? And if you want to see us actually doing this stuff, put your email address in there, and you'll end up on our list, and you'll see us actually doing it as well. Hope that's been useful. I hope that's giving you some inspiration and giving you the oomph to go and email more often.
Thank you guys so much. That was honestly, usually I'm talking half the time that I'm doing these, and I was just like all in. I was just listening and learning. I really appreciate it. Let me think. I had 10 questions written down that I wanted to make sure that I learned from you. Oh, yes, there is one thing that we didn't cover. I want to know more about your survey method. Now, I know that you guys are a fan of using data to drive your content for email marketing. How do you use surveys to do that?
Yeah, absolutely. So here's one of the major problems. The minute you've got more than one subscriber on your list, you've now got a bunch of different people with different pain points, different problems, different worries, and different objections. And so you've got to be able to overcome that in a different way. Gone are the days where we can just blast the same message to a whole list of people and hope that everything's going to be okay. Because that's what makes people disengage, and that's what ruins your delivery. If you start sending stuff that's irrelevant to people, they're just going to stop paying attention. So we realized very early on that we needed to be able to run surveys and just ask the questions that Kennedy would, as a mind reader, would just instinctively know the answer to. But we're not all mind readers here, so we need to ask the question sometimes. And that is, how can we help you best? What's your biggest obstacle right now? Basically, the thing we would encourage you to do is to stop and think, what's the one question I wish I could ask all of my subscribers that would make it easier to know what to sell them, or how to sell it to them? Like, what's the pain point? What's the angle that I need to approach that from? So we started doing surveys where, like, stupidly simple 3-question surveys or 2-question surveys, sometimes 1-question surveys, where somebody clicks a link, they go to a quick survey, they fill it out, like 2 clicks of the mouse, no typing, just literally, which of these things are you most interested in right now? But then, and marketers have been doing that for years, but the problem with that is, if you say, which of these 4 things are you most interested in right now, you might find that like 25% of people say each one, and then by the end of it, you're really no further forward. You know that 25% of your list want each one, but like, well, now what do I do? I knew that. That's why I asked the question. So the answer that we have is to use the survey to segment them then, so that every single person now goes on like a unique path of emails that are bespoke to what they just said in the survey.
Yeah. Okay. So that goes into my second question. But first, I want to know, how are you delivering the survey? Is it going out through email? Is it on your site, a pop-up?
Yeah, and there's a few different ways of doing it. One of the things we do is, as soon as someone joins your email list, that's a really pivotal point where you can make or break the relationship with each individual subscriber. And that's when you make or break your delivery and all of that sort of stuff. So one of the things we do is we have a 4-email series that is an automation that goes out immediately when someone joins our list. And we call it the getting to know you sequence, because it's about getting to know them getting to know you, and also getting to know you as a song from the musical The King and I. So that's all very important stuff. So, and we're both massive musical theatre buffs because we're those guys. So, but one of the things that's in that getting to know you 4-day sequence, as well as building up your credibility, training your subscribers to engage and click and increase that relationship, is we include a thing called the Alpha Survey. And that's literally a link in that survey that says, let us know how to help you the most, because you're here because you need help for something. Let us know how to do that. They click on that link, and now they're over at the survey. And one of the things that was tricky when we were first doing this is there weren't any survey platforms and systems that actually directly integrated with the email marketing platforms. So what we had to do is we actually founded one, which is, you mentioned that at the beginning, it was very kind of you. That's why we founded this tool called responsesuite.com, where literally you build surveys that integrate directly, and based on every click, that's every choice someone makes in the survey, you can apply a different tag, you can put them on a different list. So now you can follow up in the most appropriate way. And that means no one can feel like they want to disengage because you're no longer relevant. And that's the biggest reason people disengage.
So you guys send 365 emails a year, and you also have segments. Are you sending them to each segment 365 times a year?
So what we do is, what's the briefest way of explaining this? So we've got two pieces of our email marketing. One of them is automations, and the automations take care of those segments. And then once someone's been through our series of automations, which sell our core offers, at the end of that, we give them a tag, which is just to say, now they're out of the automations, send them the daily emails. So no, we just send one daily email then. But all of that said, we have multiple businesses, so we don't only use this stuff in the email marketing niche to helping other small businesses with their email marketing. We send between the two of us 4 daily emails. That's why we have to be able to write them in like 4 or 5 minutes or less.
Just to add to that, one interesting thing is that the people don't know when they're in automations and when they're in broadcasts. Like, it's easy for us as the marketers to get hung up on that, but actually they just know that they opted in, they went through 4 emails, and those emails are quite clearly like, welcome to my world. But after that, like the automations are built so the emails feel and look the same as the daily emails, but they serve a very specific purpose of turning new subscribers into customers fast, because that's the first job you've got to do. That's going to allow you to cash flow your business growth. That's going to allow you to be able to exist and survive. After they get out the end of the automations, when they go into daily emails, one of the things you can do, and this is lovely, most of the email marketing platforms available now, things like ConvertKit, ActiveCampaign, Keep by Infusionsoft that we use, formerly Infusionsoft, will allow you to do conditional content where you send one email, but one paragraph in it is different for different segments of the list. So you can have somebody who took a survey when they first joined your list, and we might ask them, are you a course creator, an an e-commerce business, a marketing agency, or something else? And we now know what they are, and they're not likely to change that next week. So that's what they are. They're segmented that way in our system. So now when we send out an email, we can just change one sentence, one word, or one paragraph if you are an e-com person versus if you're a local business, because we need to sell to you slightly differently or sell you slightly different stuff. So that's the other way of implementing that.
So if I'm getting I'm a systems person, so I'm trying to visualize this. When someone subscribes, then you start with a 4-part welcome series, and that series is designed to help you segment and understand their needs better. Then they move to a nurture campaign where it's personalized for their specific needs, and then they go into the daily emails.
So the metaphor that we came up with, which really helps people visualize this, is we imagine each of the campaigns, so whether it's a getting to know you campaign or a nurture campaign or whatever, imagine each of those as a different train carriage, right? So at the beginning, they join the train, and the first thing they do, the first train carriage is the getting to know you sequence, which is that welcome series. Then the next one for us is something that we call the overture campaign. And what the point of that overture campaign is to introduce your core first product. It's usually the least resistance product. It's usually a low cost, a low ticket product, just to get people to become that customer for the first time. The reason that's so important to do through an automation rather than getting straight into your daily emails is because of context. The reason a lot of people don't make the sales they really deserve to be making with their email marketing is because the person who's receiving the emails doesn't quite understand what the product is. Whereas if before they go into your daily broadcasts or your newsletter or whatever, if before that they've gone through a series of emails, we call an overture campaign, which introduces what the product is, who it's for, how it helps, what other people are saying about it, why it's great, why they should buy it now. If you've got a series of those types of automations before they get into your daily emails, now you've created context. Of course, we don't stop there. So ours always start off with getting to know you, then an overture for a product, then some kind of And this is the thing that we teach inside of our membership, actually, because this is, I think, what we all need is a series of frameworks and campaign structures for making sales. So we have some campaigns which are structured around, hey, go watch this video. And if people do watch the video, something else happens. Hey, go engage in this piece of content. So each of these types of campaigns, and we have crazy names for each of them. Like we've got one called the Black Widow. We've got one called the Golden Cloak. We've got one called the Interrogator. And we've got like 15 different campaigns, and our members get a new one each month because there's so much you can do depending on your business model. Is what's really nice about thinking about the train analogy, going back to that, is if one of those campaigns is not working because the sales on it are poor, you uncouple it from the two campaigns either side of it, take that carriage out, and put them back together again, like they do when they make a train longer and shorter. And if you've got a new campaign, uncouple some more, put the new campaign in, and make the train longer. So it's a case of just coming up with a series of automations to make your core sales. And then the point of the daily emails bit is really to fix the one huge problem in most email, and in fact, all marketing, and that is timing. It doesn't matter if you give me the best product stacks, the best discount, an amazing bonus. It doesn't matter if just the wrong time for me right now. So we take care of those other opportunities about message market and media, and that you see in the normal marketing triangle through the automations. But then the timing element is just about us showing up. So at the moment they're ready to buy, we are right at the very top of their inbox, right at the very top of their mind.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And from our live stream, 2 weeks ago with Brian Minnick from Zero Bounce, same conversation about how it's important to email regularly in order to be able to get in that inbox and be seen. So tech verified.
So true.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you guys so much for joining me today. Is there anything you want to add before we leave?
No, this was just awesome. Thanks for being here, and I hope everybody enjoyed it.
I loved it. I felt like an audience member with my popcorn just watching. All right, bye guys. Thank you. Oh my goodness, that was enjoyable in my humble opinion. To wrap it up, it was a joy having Robin Kennedy today, and thanks for joining me this week. We will be releasing an article inspired by this conversation soon. So if you want to receive it, go to sarahnoelblock.com/newsletter, and you'll be sure to get a copy of this on-demand video and the article. And each week we'll be sending actionable newsletters, maybe daily now after this conversation, where we're going to teach you more about what we've been talking about on this show. Next week, I will be solo, and we'll be talking about how to streamline blog management, which I know is big for this audience, and I'm excited to talk about it. Thank you.